up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and we are back with another episode of the Slo Sheriffs Rodeo with Chad Nicholson, and we have Barrel House, Jason Carvalho with us. Welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome. Thanks for coming in, guys. So, Chad, first, let's start with what's been happening since the last time you were here.
Yeah, we're only a couple months out now. Sheriff's Rodeo's May 11th, May 10th and 11th. Our qualifiers May 10th, and then the main performance May 11th. And plans are coming along well. Tickets went on sale here in mid-February and have been selling really, really well. We've got thousands of tickets already sold. So we encourage people, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, to get them immediately because they are going to sell out this year, like we've talked about on previous episodes. But we've just been planning another great performance. Because of great sponsors like Jason and Barrel House, we are able to offer a really good performance to our fans. And then new this year is that fan zone that's going to be taking place ahead of the rodeo. So gates will open at 2 o'clock, so 3 hours before the start of the rodeo. And that fan zone will have live music by K-Jug, or sponsored by K-Jug, like a K-Jug barn dance type atmosphere. Barrel House will be there serving beer. We have a rod and hammer zone. They'll be doing whiskey tastings. We'll have a mechanical bull. We have some of our contestants that are well known in the professional rodeo industry. They'll be signing autographs, cactus ropes and cactus saddlery. You know, we'll have roping dummies there. We'll be selling merchandise, and we'll have a lot of other sponsor booths and so on. So it'll be a good time for people to come get to the rodeo ahead of time. They can start, getting food and beverage in them before the rodeo starts at 5.
Wow. And so this is like no other. I mean, does any other rodeo or events do like this fans? I mean, I'd say locally that does this kind of fan zone, opportunity for people to be a part of?
There's not a whole lot that do it locally. The Santa Maria Elks have some things that take place before the rodeo starts and so on. But like we've talked about on previous episodes, we're trying to bring a big rodeo feel to our rodeo here in Paso Robles. And you go to the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, you go to Rodeo Houston, the American, any of these other big rodeos, and they have all this other stuff going on outside of the rodeo, whether it's a fan zone, it's a vendor fair, it's all of that. So we're trying to grow to that to get, obviously more publicity for ourselves, more experience for the fans, more exposure for the sponsors and all of that, and just make it an all-around experience for everybody and their families.
And I know you don't want to step on, what happens here, like California Mid State Fair and some of these other rodeos, but you're starting to get a lot of national, exposure, and people starting to talk about what you're doing out here on the West Coast, huh?
Yeah, it's exciting. We've, had a lot of meetings with some of our bigger sponsors, and it seems like as they travel all around the country, and, it's a tight-knit group within the rodeo and Western industry. And, we've had a lot of discussions with people that have heard about our rodeo, heard how well that it's been going the last couple of years and growing, and, have plans to either attend or support it or sponsor it or, and just, be all-around fans of it. So it's been really good.
And one thing I want to stress, and you're already stressing, is ticket sales. Get in there and buy them, because you guys are already ahead of schedule from what you guys were at last year.
We are, yeah. We're ahead of schedule of what we've sold last year, and everybody waits to the last minute to buy a ticket. I think over half of our ticket sales the last 2 years have been day of, and I can't stress to people enough to buy them ahead of time, because there is very, very high likelihood that there's going to be people that are turned away at the gates this year, because it's either going to sell out ahead of time or it's going to sell out while people are in line, because that arena has a capacity of 7,000 people, and we're going to exceed that this year, or we're going to meet that, and we can't have more than that because of the fire marshal codes and obviously the safety of everybody inside. So once that amount of tickets is sold, we're going to have to cut it off, and they can't get in. So if people want to attend, then just go to Eventbrite. You can type in Slo Sheriffs Rodeo. The tickets will pop up. You can go to slosheriffsrodeo.com. Tickets are on there, and get your tickets as soon as possible.
So you obviously can't do, and this production takes a lot of people to be, all hands on deck to be involved with this and get this thing off the ground. And so you have some really cool sponsors like, Jason. So tell me how this relationship happened.
So Jason has been one of the founding sponsors of the Sheriffs Rodeo and Barrel House. And, we had met a few years ago when we wanted to start the rodeo, and they were all hands on deck. They were, fully supportive in what we were doing. They believed in the concept. Obviously they're great citizens within the community, Citizen of the Year, I believe.
Right.
You and your wife, congratulations.
Thank you.
So because of sponsors like them, they are what make this rodeo happen. And for us to be able to take, we constantly talk about production value, and it has to be a top-notch, level of production value, and because we don't want to put on a chintzy performance. And because of sponsors like them, that's why we can do it.
Awesome.
So,
Well, Jason, let's talk about you and Barrel House. So tell me about Barrel House. How did you and what made you get involved with what you have now?
I really like beer. I like
Oh, right on.
have for a very long
Me too.
time, and I just kind of started experimenting with different beers. I guess it was probably about 15 years ago, whenever the craft brew scene kind of came on, and there's all these exciting different IPAs, coming out, and I got interested in it. And then I was just having a beer with my neighbor one night, and he said, I used to make beer. And I said, really? Tell me about it. And he started talking about it. As a matter of fact, I still have all the equipment. So he said, if you want, we can break it out one of these days and do a batch. So we did a batch in the garage, and it turned out, mediocre at best.
So whose expertise was that? All his, or were you just?
It was
kind of
all his.
following-
At that
Okay.
time, his name's Greg Ibsen, super cool. One of my, good friends. He was a neighbor of mine, and he had the system. And so we whipped up a batch, and then it turned out okay. And then I was like, I think we can do better. And he's like, yeah, we can do better. So we started just trying and experimenting. And I think it's a lot like barbecuing or smoking meat or using your Santa Maria style barbecue. Every time you do it, you want to try something a little bit different, try a different rub, try a different temperature, try a different procedure. And I like to get good at things. Once I get into them, I'm not like a 1 foot in kind of guy. Like I'm kind of all in, and it's the same thing with barbecuing. So it was just really interesting to me. I love the process, the smells that go along with it, and then it brought the whole community together. Like all the neighbors came over, and all the wives were hanging out, and there's just something about that process that brought everybody together. And I'd been doing construction for 15, 20 years, and I was getting a little burnt out on it, and I was looking to start another business. I started a construction company, and that was going, but I was just kind of getting burnt out on the construction thing. So I thought, if I can make a go at this, I still think there might be an opportunity to create something that the community was lacking, which was like this community hub where you could bring dogs and kids and just like a big outdoor space. And so I put together this little business plan with my wife, and she's awesome. She had my back. She's like, let's try it. We've got construction you can always fall back on. Like, I knew I'd be able to put food on the table somehow. And so I started looking for used equipment, found used equipment up in Canada, a brewery that was upsizing. We flew over there, dismantled it all, loaded up onto a truck, found a spot in Paso, started putting it all together, and so.
But you were already to the point to where now you were making you were brewing the stuff yourself.
I was at that
So-
time. I was doing all the, there was only 3 of us, and I technically wasn't an employee. My wife was the breadwinner for a while, so we were living on a teacher's salary and just trying to figure it out. So I had to do pretty much everything. And then once we opened up and figured out it was actually going to work, and the community came out and just supported us, and it was amazing just to see the community support. I realized, like, there's distribution, there's marketing, there's all these other things. If I'm on the brew deck all the time and doing all the work on the deck, I can't grow the business. So I eventually had to step away from the brewing aspect. I'm still involved in a lot of the recipe creations and all that, but I don't get a lot of time to actually on the brew deck anymore. So
Wow.
we've got guys that are way better at it than I am now. So
That's
cool.
that's super cool. I mean, like I said, I definitely want to deep dive with you, on a show that directed to Barrel House? Because you have a really interesting story, as far as like, coming out here, like especially that part, and then your growth, where have you been? You got Paso, coming on, board here in the next couple of years, which is a big build out.
That is a big build out,
You and your wife, congratulations, Citizen of the Year, which is awesome. And so, like I said, I think your story is really, really cool, and I'm really interested in the story. How, like Chad was saying, that you're on board, about this from the get go. So, what was that like?
So my family, I mean, my daughter and my wife, they're big into all the Gymkhana events, and my daughter competes in a lot of the ranch versatility stuff, and she does English, she does Western, and so we've always been a part of the rodeo community. We did Western Bonanza back at Cal Poly. My wife and I went to Cal Poly. She grew up on a farm. I always wished that I had a farm. But they're our people. That's our community. And so when we had the opportunity to partner up on this, it was a no-brainer. We just, they're all about the same things we are, So it just seemed like a natural fit. And so I said, yeah, we're in for as long as you'll have us.
Yeah. And he hit the nail on the head, because that was the first time I'd heard the story about how he started Barrel House, but everything he said about the similarities with the Sheriff's Rodeo, he wanted to start it to bring a community feel, a place where, families could bring their kids and their dogs. And we've talked about it numerous times on the show. That's what our rodeo is all about, is we wanted something that'll give back to the community. That's a good, like, family friendly event, to where, a family can bring their kids and it's not going to break their pocketbook. It's only $10 and kids are free. And we just want people to come have a good time for the night, celebrate the Western way of life, the sport of rodeo, law enforcement, our sponsors. And so you could see why it's such a good partnership, because they believe in the same values that we do.
And I think that's you hit it on the head as far as family friendly, and I see that at Barrel House. You go there and there's, massive kids, running around, jumping into the pond there by the rock, get out there. Parents are yelling. So it's a really cool, it's not a bar. You know what I'm saying? It's not a beer place in my opinion, and I might be saying it wrong, but it's like being at the park and you have Barrel House there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's kind of how I had to sell it to my wife, because at first, whenever I told her I was going to do that, she's like, we're not opening up a bar. I'm like, no, we're going to do it different. We're going to do it totally different. And so, yeah, that's our goal, is just community, community and family has always been our focus. So.
And Jason, so you've been involved with the Sheriff Rodeo. Chad, this is the third year, correct?
Year.
We're
Yes,
going
sir.
into the third year, so you've been involved for 3 years. What has been your take on this growth in the from the very first year to going into the third year? What has been your thought process and how this is growing exponentially, into what it is today?
I knew that it would, just because of the need for it in the community. I saw the need, and being somewhat involved in that community, I could just see it taking off. And it's really neat to see the evolution of it, because the first year it was new to all of us. Yeah. And so every year it seems like, and the sheriff's department's like, we need to step up our game. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Last year we noticed this, we can improve this. And so that's kind of how I roll. That's kind of my fuel, is how can we make this better? How can we improve the community experience to this? And so, like our walk we did several weeks back at the rodeo grounds, having that whole area for families to just get together and visit, and the kids to have fun ahead of time. And then you got the whole other rodeo experience. So this is just going to take the whole rodeo to another level. And each year, these guys just want to step up their game, and so do we. So it's fun. It's exciting to see.
Yeah.
And Chad, how important is it to have a local brewing company, like basically on your guys's, you 100% supportive of you guys?
Oh, it's amazing, and we love being able to not just support, local businesses, but obviously receive support from them. And it's nice to get assistance from the national brands and recognition. You have like Preferred Rodeo and Ranch Equipment, Cactus Saddlery, and all that. But it's going back to the community feel. It's great to have a big sponsor and a brewery that's here, that's local, that has the roots in the community. community, that has the stories that Jason and his wife have, and so on. You know, like we've talked about before, you know, I'm the 6th generation to a cattle ranching family here on the coast, and we've been here since the late 1800s, and just have roots in the area, you know, and businesses in the area. And so to be able to support the businesses, have them support us, it's just a big family atmosphere, you know. And so it's great. And then we sit down, and like we've talked about on previous episodes, because obviously we work in law enforcement, and our major operations at the end of, we approach the rodeo no different than I would handle like a SWAT operation or anything like that. Afterwards, we debrief it and we figure out, okay, what went well, but better yet, what didn't go well, and what can we do better. And I'm a huge football fan, and that one of the analogies I love is you look at some of the best NFL football teams. I hate to say it, the Kansas City Chiefs, because they beat my Niners in the Super Bowl. However, all the most successful teams, they play on Sunday and they could win by 30 points, but they go back on Monday morning and they watch film and see how can they get better, you know. And that's same what we do with the rodeo and everything in law enforcement is like, okay, what can we do to get better? So that's what we've applied to this rodeo is, okay, how can we make this experience better for the spectators, for everybody that's involved, for the sponsors, everything. So that's what we've been trying to do year after year. And the sheriff, you know, he knows me real well, and we're close friends, and he'll always say, like, make sure you don't bite off more than you can chew on this. I'm like, well, we want to do this fan zone, and we want to, you know, maybe look into doing a multi-day event. And so we're already looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years into the future, and how can we make this better?
And I remember that from last year when we were walking around down there with Nate, which is another one of, you know, you and Nate kind of thought about this years and years ago, as you told me the story in the patrol car, you know, about putting on these events and this and that. But as far as like the expansion of it, you guys aren't jumping right into it and being like, hey, let's throw everything, all the tools into the toolbox and sort them out later. You guys are doing it methodically and, you know, thinking about what you can, like you said, like the sheriff said, you know, bite off more than you can chew. What can we handle this year? What can we handle, you know, going forward? Yeah,
because we want to dabble with it, but like I say, you only get one chance to make a first impression on all this stuff, you know, and you don't want to have it just flop. And otherwise that's what people remember, you know. So if we could slowly expand like a fan zone, offer all this, you know, before the rodeo starts, and it goes well, the next year we'll grow it even more. It'll be a larger fan zone, maybe a larger vendor fair, you know, potentially a multi-day event, things like that. But we learn from every little experience, and okay, this went well, this didn't go well, things like that. So
yeah. Awesome. So Jason, looks like you brought some standard ale here, right?
I did, yeah.
So is this one of your most populars?
That's, I mean, locally in our tap rooms, yes. That's kind of the go-to, especially because of the weather here in the summertime. It's just a nice, refreshing, light, easy drinking beer. But yeah, I brought that one just because it's kind of the crowd favorite as far as if you don't like IPAs or you don't like stouts, you're gonna like this. Because if you're a beer person, it's hard to find something wrong with that one. And that one's been evolving over the years. That started as it was called Templeton when we first came out.
Oh, no kidding.
When we first opened, yeah.
Okay, and then it transitioned into the standard? Same ingredients, everything?
No, it's mostly the same ingredients, but we've refined our process, and it's one of those ones that's kind of like the brewer's beer. So that's one that we're always trying to make just a little bit better. And the name, the Standard, my grandpa worked for Standard Oil for years, and I was trying to find something that was a little bit different. There may or may not have been some trademark issues with Templeton and Templeton whiskey, but we needed to give it a new identity, and we thought, hey, it'd be cool to bring, you know, grandpa into it somehow. So that's where the Standard came from.
And red, white, and blue, of course, you know, and black.
That's how we roll.
Right?
Yep.
I like that. That's awesome. So, but you guys also not only just have beer, you guys have some seltzers and some other stuff, right? So,
yeah, we always try to, I mean, if you're going to have the community, if you're going to have mom there, grandma, grandpa, you got to have something for everybody. So we also offer, always have soft drinks, waters. We have seltzers. We usually try to have a couple seltzers on tap. And then just new this year, we're allowed to make cider. So we have cider on tap now as well. And then we always have a non-alcohol, at least one in a beer on tap too. So something if you're a sober driver, if you're not into beer, it doesn't matter. Come have a concert. You can have a soda, you can have a cider, you can have an NA beer. Just want to be we want to be that one-stop shop where you don't have to worry about, are they going to have something that I like? So.
Well, I recently tasted a limited root beer seltzer over at Eric's place in Paso, and this tastes just like root beer. I mean, old school root beer.
It does, yeah. So the brewers, we've got this amazing staff that's always experimenting, and they're like, I think we could do this. And I'm like, well, let's perfect it first, and then we'll talk about rolling it out. And so anytime they have a challenge like that, like they want to make a hard root beer or whatever, I'm always down to try it. And some hit, some don't, but the root beer, and then they did a cherry Coke one or cherry cola one that turned out really dynamite too. We also make root beer too for the kids whenever we have time. The guys are actually really good at just making just a standard root beer. It's insane.
So what will you be bringing to the Sheriff Rodeo this year?
We're going to be bringing a little bit of everything. We're going to be showcasing some seltzers. We're going to be showcasing some of our lighter beers, something hoppy. So same thing, just we want to have something for everybody on tap and just kind of let them know what we're all about and just make their experience as good as possible.
And last year you got hit hard, right? Because remember it was like 1,000 degrees, like the day of the rodeo. It rained and poured and the whole world was flooding except for the day of the rodeo.
Right. It was, and we've been strategizing on that. We've got more points of sale so that we can minimize the lines, and I think we've got a really good plan this year to kind of spread out. And I think people they'll be really happy with the way things are going to go this year.
Awesome.
Yeah, Randy, like we had talked about for the fan zone, they're going to have a good presence in the fan zone area and then also inside the main arena. And because this year we're going to have more food and beverage vendors, and some will be out there on the midway, and gates going into the arena will be open at all times because we'll take tickets out at the main gate of the fair. People will be able to go out on the midway and get beers from their locations or stay inside the fair or inside the main arena there and get beer from their location. So there'll be multiple spots they can get barrel house beer.
And Chad, I know you're always thinking of how to brand this, how to make this better. Do you foresee a barrel house brewed Slo Sheriff Rodeo beer limited?
Maybe. I mean, it's
you guys want to come get on the brew deck?
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be great. I love beer as well, so we definitely wouldn't turn down that opportunity. And Rod and Hammer's offered the same thing with their whiskey, and they did a custom label for some of their whiskey bottles, which is really neat. So yeah, we'd love to do something with the beer for the rodeo and all that. It'd be neat.
It's a lot of work, so I mean,
bet.
anything that we can weave in some fun at the same time. And he gives a lot of credit to the sponsors and everything, but these guys it's so much work to put on an event and something to that scale. And Chad and his team, I mean, there's so much that goes on to pulling this off. And anything that we can do to improve the experience and spend more time with these guys, we'd be down.
And Jason, you're part of a lot of events. I know just here in the community. I don't know where other places that you're involved with, but here in the community, you're involved. Barrel House Brew at the tractor pulls, Barrel House Brew. You're all over the place. What would you rate this Sheriff Rodeo just in its 3 short years as the level of like experience?
I would say, like on a scale of 1 to 10, this is definitely a 10 as far as like just checking all the boxes and being just it's just so fun. There's so many people there that come out and support the event. We early on we decided, because there's so many amazing causes that you can be a part of and so many things you can support, and so first responders and then education were top notch.
Because your wife's a teacher.
My wife's a teacher. My parents were teachers. My business partner's dad was in law enforcement. My dad was in the military. My wife's dad was in the military. So it's like these guys, they work so hard, and they're kind of the silent heroes. And they never want to take the credit for it. And so any opportunity we have to do the tractor pulls for the kiddos or work with the sheriff's department, and then at the same time that community aspect, that if it's going to bring people together and it's going to be good people, good times, great beer, we're all in. So this is one of the events that my entire staff looks forward to. We go out, we meet, where are we going to put banners, how are we going to set this up, and we plan ahead of time just so that we make sure that we don't drop the ball for these guys. So
And I'll agree with you, Jason. It's really like, you get behind the, the law enforcement, like us with what we're doing. It was like a no-brainer when, Chad, we had him on last year just as a, preview of what's going on. And then it's like, hey, can we get involved in this and that? We're absolutely, no question. We're in to count us in. And it's a great, support. It's a great, partnership. Here in the county, the sheriff, like you said, you guys do a lot of stuff. I mean, and again, I want to say it's thankless because it's really not, but it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you do a lot of stuff on the backside. So like I said, we appreciate, what you guys do to help, keep us protected, as you guys do on the Central Coast. So we appreciate you guys.
Well, the sheriff himself, Sheriff Parkinson, is phenomenal to work for. Grew up really in this community and been in law enforcement since he was 18 years old here and somewhere around there. And so he has deep roots here. He obviously cares about the community. He cares about the rodeo. He wants to give back to the community. So he's been very, very supportive of this rodeo. And because of his support and the support of everyone, we can make this happen. So it's great.
So Chad, tell me about, so you got a concert after the rodeo. So not only does your ticket get you into the fan zone, which, people are talking about, super excited about that. You have the rodeo. And then afterwards, it also includes a concert. So
this year we'll have Annie Bosco coming out to play from Nashville. Very, very talented singer. Has played a lot of major rodeos this year back in Texas, was on Jimmy Kimmel here a few weeks ago. So we're really excited to have her come out. But yeah, immediately after the rodeo is over with, she will play a full concert on the main grandstand stage. And it's neat because we open up the gates to the arena. We let all the fans go down there on the arena floor right up to the stage if they want. So the rodeo this year will end probably about 8 o'clock, 7:45 to 8 o'clock, and then about 10 minutes or so for them to get their mixer board out there in the arena, and sound and lights and everything are all set up, and then the concert will start. So yeah, your admission ticket will get you into the fan zone starting at 2 o'clock. The rodeo will start at 5, go till about 7:45 or 8, and then the concerts afterwards. So you'll be hard pressed to find more value in a $10 ticket than you will for all of that,
And even kids are free, under 12?
Under 12.
Under
yes,
12, law enforcement, local law enforcement are free.
Yes.
Military?
No military.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so law enforcement and kids, but they still need a ticket. So they still need to be accounted for.
They still need a ticket. They still need to be accountable because, like we had said, you got to be able to count everybody that comes in there for safety codes and so on. So on the website, if you say your child is under 12, there's a free child's ticket option. You just select that. It'll give you a QR code in your cart, and when you show up to the rodeo, then they'll just scan it and they go right in.
Chad, we're talking about sponsors. So tell me about the sponsors that you guys have on board with you guys this year.
I can't even begin to list all of them because I believe there's about 60 or so that we have this year. Jason is one of our premier sponsors, and that's our highest level of sponsorship. And we have Jason with Barrel House, who's been with us from the beginning. There is Borhone GMC. We have EECU Credit Union. That's a new premier sponsor, and they're the sponsor of our scholarship program, which is new this year. We have Premier Ag here in town, which is a premier sponsor, and they're putting together all the logistics for our bull riding again. We have David Cry Construction out of Morro Bay. He's a premier sponsor. Prefert Rodeo and Ranch Equipment, Cactus Saddlery, Resistol. We have a lot of premier sponsors on that level that really have made this. The Hearst Ranch is another one. The Hearst Corporation. So those are our top level of sponsorships, and all the way down to, we have $1,000 arena banner sponsorships, and every little thing helps. So, like I say, I can't begin to rattle all of them off, but it's been phenomenal.
And like I said, I didn't want to put you on the spot because, like I said, that's 60 people, 60 businesses, and they're growing. Yeah. And everybody wants to be involved. Everybody was like, last year, you were telling me that they're like, hey, count us in for next year. Mm-hmm. So it's for a business to be, paired with an event like this is one of those events that local businesses want to be a part of. And local people want to. It's funny that we do this. You do so many different types of market, and people still are like, oh, what? There's a rodeo? When? It's like, really, where you been, under a rock?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's the events like this that grow and grow and grow, and then it becomes just like, we're too big. The seams are busting. We got to do something different.
Yeah, and this event, for like me personally and Nate and the sheriff, obviously none of us make any money off this. Like this is strictly an event for the community. You know, we work in law enforcement. We're paid to do our job in law enforcement, and this is just something we wanted to do for the community. So, you know, we will put so much effort into putting on this event, and we don't profit off of it. You know, any money that's generated goes to our nonprofit Sheriff's Advisory Foundation, and that money is used to purchase equipment for all law enforcement agencies in the county if, you know, their local city or county budgets can't afford it. So, I mean, we truly want to give back to the community. Everybody that's on our committee, from the sheriff, myself, Nate, and everybody else, I mean, we're donating our time to the community to make sure that they have a good event.
And I want to highlight that the rodeo isn't just a bunch of sheriffs out there participating, right? It's not like, hey, you're riding a horse this weekend.
Yeah, no, I mean, completely opposite. You know, there's, I think, only one of us or so that competes. But other than that, it's all top level cowboys and cowgirls from all over the state and really all over the country that come and compete. And like I said before on the last episode, Stan Branco, who was the champion of our steer wrestling event last year, he finished number 2 in the world standings, I believe, after the NFR last year. So, I mean, that's the caliber of guys that we get, and females as well. So yeah, for people that come out to the rodeo, you're not going to see a bunch of cops compete or that are trying to be cowboys and cowgirls. These are legit cowboys and cowgirls competing in the sport of rodeo. Us as the sheriff's office, we're just putting it on for them.
Although I know Sheriff Parkinson loves the event where the SWAT team goes out there and tries to pull that flag off the steer's
That one's hilarious.
tail,
That's a lot
right?
of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
No, well, he loves it, but he says that, you know, with the caveat of, from a risk management perspective, it's a little bit scary
Right?
too, you know, and please don't get my guys hurt is what he says too. So we've tried that's why we did the ribbon roping, where, you know, it's like, well, maybe you could pull this ribbon off their tail without getting injured, but we're not going to have you go out and wrestle a cow down.
Well,
or a
remember
steer or
that
something.
cow last year, that steer turned around and got one of them right in the chest.
Yeah,
I was like, oh man, that could have been bad.
I know.
So
Yeah,
last year,
it
you
was
guys, the new thing was bull riding,
Yes, sir.
right? So what's the new event this year?
We're not going to have any new events this year. It'll all be the same events. I think just the new concept to the rodeo will be the fan zone, you know, and then some other added experiences during the rodeo. Like we're going to have giant big screens at each end of the arena that are going to broadcast live feed from you guys, What's Up North County. We'll be able to broadcast a live feed across all social media platforms for anybody that, you know, can attend. Like Nate was saying, last year his daughter was deployed overseas and she watched the rodeo live because of you guys.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Which was neat. So we'll have that. We have some other just little fun intermittent events in between some of our main events that'll be taking place, but little things like that.
Did you have
know.
mutton busting though?
Yeah, we do have mutton busting
Yeah.
for the kids.
Okay.
Yeah, we will.
That's
have
my
that.
favorite.
It's fun. So they'll have the qualifier for that earlier in the day on Saturday, and then we'll bring the top 10 kids back to compete under the lights that night. So that'll be neat for them.
Very cool.
So yeah, just little added experiences, more food and beverage, more vendor exposure, things like that.
Well, awesome. Well, Chad, do you want to seal up this episode with anything more that we didn't touch on?
I don't think so. I just want to once again thank Jason and Barrel House and his whole crew. They've been phenomenal. Same with all of our sponsors. But like we had said at the beginning, please go and get your tickets early. Go to eventbrite.com, SLO Sheriffs Rodeo. Go to slosheriffsrodeo.com. Get your tickets. Get them early because there's a very high likelihood that you won't be able to get them the day of because we're going to sell out.
And the day of the rodeo is what?
May 11th. Gates open at 2 o'clock for the fan zone, and the rodeo starts at 5 o'clock. And your ticket includes the fan zone, the rodeo, and the concert afterwards.
Awesome.
So there'll be plenty of food and beverage. Plan on eating dinner at the event center, coming and seeing all of our vendors and sponsors, and just having a great day of rodeo.
Awesome. Jason, thanks for coming in, telling
Thanks
us
for
a
having
little
me.
bit of your story, a little bit of Barrel House.
Absolutely.
And again, Barrel House is a local favorite of obviously everybody, because I see Barrel House hats everywhere.
Well, thank you.
So even like I saw a Barrel House hat in Tahoe. I was just up there recently. And
That never gets old. I love it when I see it out at different places.
You know, start a little Facebook page or something for
Barrel House in the
Barrel
wild.
House in the
Yeah,
world.
I like that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in. Thanks for your support with this event as well.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for
Chad,
having me.
we appreciate you. We appreciate your partnership with us and allowing us to bring this to to the media and to the masses, and hopefully sell out before the day of.
Well, thank you for everything you guys do. You guys do an amazing job.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in to What's Up North County. The episode, Slo Sheriff Rodeo, coming up May 11th. You do not want to miss this. And you want to get your tickets in immediately because they will sell out. Mark my words, they will sell out. But as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Esquire Wines, Wine Travelers Hideaway, Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, Santo Brother Plumbing, Pacific 805 Spas, Hanson Enterprises, Story Termite Pest Control, Borhone Auto Center, Kennedy Club Fitness, and Airflow Filter Services. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you at the rodeo.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Hi, welcome to Kennedy Club Fitness, where we have something for everyone. We have weights, cardio, group exercise classes, racquetball, basketball, swimming, and pickleball coming soon. Here at Kennedy, we're committed to health, wellness, and community. Stop by any of our 4 locations: Paso Robles, Atascadero, San Luis Obispo, and Arroyo Grande, or check out our website at kennedyclubs.com.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We're all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.
What's up, North County? Nate Santos here, owner of Santos Bros Plumbing. You might recognize me with my dancing horses at local events such as the Atascadero Tamale Festival, Templeton 4th of July, and Paso Pioneer Day. I am now available for all your home plumbing service and repair needs, from minor drips and drops to emergency leaks and clogs. For the best plumbing service, call Santos Bros Plumbing, pipe wranglers to the rescue.